Hello, my friends, and as I promised, this is a retro anime review. And it's about a movie that I bought from Anime Expo some time back in the early part of this month. And one of the very few anime that I bought for myself is an old anime from 1987 that goes by the title Lily Cat. Now, Lily Cat is about 13 13 space jockeys who were commissioned by the company to actually go on the starship Saldus in order to find a newly discovered planet. The journey takes about 20 years, so they had to basically go into hibernation. Well, what happened within the 20 years cryo hibernation is that there was a mysterious entity that seeped in through one of the cracks of the Saldus. And of course, one of its one of its one of its members woke up a little too sooner and at the wrong time too. That happens to be the cat. So therefore, the cat woke up first before anybody else. And once it spotted the entity, be it formless, it got rid of the cat. It was the first victim. So the entire time, we fast forward after the 20 years is up, all the participants are now awake. The quote unquote cat is not really a cat. And what I mean by that is it's not really a cat. So we have the 13 characters slowly but surely get taken out one by one until there's practically almost no one left. And I had to tell you, it reminds me so much of the Blob and the Thing, and of course Resident Evil in space. If Resident Evil was somewhere in the far, far future, it would be in space on a colony. But instead of fighting zombies, there'd be nothing to actually fight. Because, like I said, it is a formless being, and you cannot fight formless beings the way you will fight like zombies and undead would, you know. But aside from that, I have to say this movie, for what it was worth, this is like my second time watching this movie. My first time that I actually watched this movie was when Sci-Fi actually showed anime. That was the first time I actually saw this movie, and it was in dub. And the first time that I actually saw it, I I didn't know what to think. Honestly, I really didn't know what to think about this movie because it was a dub, and me and dubs we go a long way back. So therefore, when I saw it, I didn't know what to think. And as I'm holding the DVD in my hand, the movie is by Eastern Star, And like I said, it's a very old movie. It is a retro review because this movie came out in 1987. And if you know how 80s movies were back in the days, then this anime is no different than what you would normally see out of something from Alien or Predator or even The Blob or The Thing. But I can tell you, this movie was just downright. Mm. Like I said, this picture itself just shows you this is what the movie is about. You know, this is. I mean, considering that this is like old school anime, clearly, clearly, after watching it in its original Japanese subtitle format, I can clearly say this movie is twice more fucked up than it was when you were watching it in dub. And I've seen many an anime. I mean, this is one of the various anime reviews I will actually ever do because I've watched another series that was even more messed up than this anime, and it's called Sazan Eyes or 3 by 3 Eyes. But this, I had to say, this movie for being 91 minutes, 91 minutes, and it's basically a sci-fi survivor horror movie. I mean, when you do it anime style, sci-fi horror in anime works well together, and I do mean it works well together. I mean, you look at something like this, you can either get grossed out, sickened, or you might be intrigued in watching this. And you're probably wondering, how can I actually look at this without basically not trying to throw up? If I've seen anything once and it's pretty disturbing, I can zen myself out of it. I can just I can just basically zen out my emotions and just watch it without trying to get sick. I mean, I've done it with this movie. I've done it with Sazan Eyes. Well, at least the first half of Sazan Eyes. I've done it with Amon Apocalypse of Devilman. I even did it with Fist of North Star. And that was the first anime that basically made me run off when I was a kid. And that's more of an anime retro review coming up in the near future. But this movie, I'm telling you, if you have never seen C.A.T, then there are plenty of other movies that I suggest you try watching, and they make up for pretty good survival style sci-fi anime. Like, I would consider, if you've not watched this, then there's another one which I believe is called They Were 11, or I think it was, and it was either And There Were 11 or They Were 11. Golf Force is another one, because that's another anime that I have actually seen when sci-fi actually showed good anime, like around 9 o'clock. Demon City Shinjuku. I mean, anything that is considered with this kind of style animation, it's worth watching. Just don't watch an anime by the name of Dark Cat. I'm telling you, Dark Cat is not worth the time Nor Dark Cat is not worth the time nor the brain cells to be watching, because that was totally poor. It was not totally poor, but the story could have been so much better. And will I be covering that? Yeah, damn right I'm going to be covering that. I'm going to be covering that from stem to stern, and wondering, why am I watching this? It is also one of the pictures that was, let's see, Streamline. This is probably the only out of so many few movies that have been done by Streamline. And if you don't remember Streamline Pictures, same people who did Robot Carnival and so many others. I mean, it's a shame that Streamline Pictures, U.S. Manga Corps, I mean, those are going way back in the day of anime. They no longer exist now. But apparently, their work still lives on, as I'm holding it in my hand. And of course, I'd rather do it like this than actually try to show my face and tell you exactly about this movie. Because, like I said, if you have a thing for survival horror or sci-fi or just straight out anime horror, then this might be for you. You know, you have to try it for yourself and see what you think about it. But otherwise, I'm telling you this. This is one damn good movie. I mean, I cannot say this enough, but this is one damn good movie. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, all the times that I mentioned from here, and probably more out there than I can probably imagine. Like even the anime I've seen, even the anime that I've seen on GoGo Anime, you know, they got some good anime there, but you know, this one is just stand out as probably one of the best in survival horror anime I've ever seen in the 80s. And mind you, like I said, this was the second time I've watched it. Because I basically sat there the entire time wondering, you know, just sitting there watching this film from start to finish, having a bowl of popcorn, not getting sick off it, not getting sick off the picture, and just saying, damn. I couldn't speak during this. I really couldn't speak during this movie, because this is one movie that basically just had me again. So, if you are an anime fan who loves crazy whacked out movies like this in the late 80s to probably mid 90s, you will enjoy Lily Cat. But if you don't, well, if you're not into this, then I suggest you not go and pick out this for yourself. But if you are just curious, I recommend you pick it up for yourself. If you find it in, say, Big Lots or maybe your local anime convention, it's either in Big Lots, Target, Walmart, FYE, and or Big Lots, because like I said, you can probably find this movie anywhere outside of your local convention, wherever you are. Then try for yourself. Lily Cat. So, if I have spoiled anything for you guys, in which I just basically told you what most of the movie is about, my apologies. But what I'm telling you is just part of what the movie is about. But like I said, try for yourself and let me know what you think about it. So with that, I have been the Tenkaichi of gaming and Otoku, Pookie Izzy 7, and I will see you next time with more videos. Until then, take care, God bless, and don't be sickened by this picture, hopefully. And Tenkai Muso.